Hello everyone and welcome to this session regarding agent and especially Copilot governance things. Let me first start by opening the presentation. Are you now able to see the presentation? I think you are. Excellent. So welcome from my side also to hear about a little bit more about Power Platform and especially agent governance, meaning Copilot Studio agent governance. There are a lot of new things coming up. A lot of new things are rolling currently, and this session here is meant for especially governance and Power Platform admins. Let's try to go through that. What those new capabilities are, what do they mean, and what to expect. I think one important thing today is that many of the things that I will be showing you for today are still in a preview, upcoming. So not everything is production ready, but at least you will get an overview, an idea that on which direction we are actually moving. So my name is Mikko Koskinen. I'm coming from Finland. I'm working as an AI and Copilot lead on a company called Forward Forever. I'm also a Copilot Studio MVP specialized in the governance and security aspects. But let's get rolling about the subject itself. I'll try to show you the demos. I have prepared some slides. I will be sharing the slides with you, of course. There are a little bit more information here than what maybe I will be presenting today. But let's first discuss a little bit that where we are today and why, for example, the governance is so important, especially in the future. So if we now think about the possibility and the ways how agents are built nowadays, there are like two tracks here. One is the low-code side, Copilot Studio, Copilot Studio Lite versions. Quite many people are already using those and creating the agents, either from the business point of view, meaning citizen developers, or maybe you have partners also who are creating the agents. And then, of course, we have the so-called pro-code side, meaning Azure Foundry services, Azure Microsoft Agent Framework agents, maybe some other technologies that are used and then published or used in your organization. There are different governance and administrative tools for both of these, but where we are now heading quite rapidly is in a situation where these two different ways of creating things are coming together, combining things. I don't know how many of you have already tried it, but if you go nowadays in the Azure Foundry services and you are creating an agent there, it's pretty easy actually to publish the agent so that you are able to use it in the Copilot Studio side. And what Microsoft is also building is a route to the other way around, so that I'm creating something on Copilot Studio and I am using those in the pro-code world. So we are starting to see a world where different areas, different type of tools are communicating together and making, or I would say sharing capabilities, features, and taking actions. Some of those actions are done by the human itself, but they can also take actions by themselves autonomously, which is also bringing up a lot of new things and areas to think through. And if you think the typical situation in a company or enterprises, there are these different roles and areas that you need to think through and to understand that what do they mean. Every persona in the different areas have their own questions, but they are all related to the entity called agent and governance in some aspect. But the level, the things that they are looking for might be a little bit different. And because of this, what Microsoft has done, they have created this type of service or idea that we could have like an unified spectrum of services where these agents are visible, governed, and also you can set up boundaries and understand that what is happening there. So in a one way, you would have a control over the different agents and what they are doing in time spectrum on your environments. I think a really important thing to understand is that Microsoft Agent 365, it's not only those frontier agents or MCP servers that you are seeing in your tenant. It's also an idea and how to combine different, maybe existing and upcoming services and have a holistic overview of the governance and security aspects. Nothing that you know now, for example, from Power Platform administrative features or activities, or how you are governing and controlling the Azure side, all of that will be maintained and still exist. And it's also really important to invest on those areas also. But we are starting to see like two level of services and activities that needs to be done. The one is the actual platform, the technology side, depending on how the agents are done. And then we have on top of that a layer of services and tools that you can use to govern, understand, and secure things. And this whole triangle here, what there is in the image, is actually the Microsoft 365 from the administrative point of view. So I'm not going too deeply today on these technological maintenance sides. I will show you some of the most important aspects from the Power Platform side, but Microsoft has also announced this type of control plane service in the Azure Foundry services, where you can see and control similar things that you are doing for Copilot Studio agents in the Power Platform admin side. Meaning you will have a list of agents, you can control the cost, for example, quotas, see the amount of usage, etc. But when these two areas are starting to communicate, in between the services, or they are published to the end users, they start to act without user interaction, for example. On that situation, you will actually need other type of services. And that's when the Agent 365 is stepping in. So it's actually using the administrative services are actually using the same features, same services that have already been there quite a while actually. Most likely you have your own teams who are specialized for security in the Defender side, or you are controlling identities in the Microsoft Entra services. All of these services are now getting new features and capabilities that are somehow connected to an AI and agent world. But of course, there is the tool in a Microsoft 365 service that will show you the agents, and that's maybe the most common way to understand the Agent 365 service. So let's go first on the Agent 365 top level service, the registry in M365 Admin Center. And let's go to see what that actually means. I'm now in the Copilot Studio. Let me know if the zooming is not right. I try to zoom it so that you are able to see what I'm doing here. So let's go here and let's start to publish the agent. Like you know, there are multiple ways of doing this. I always prefer to take the steps on pushing the Copilot Studio agent to the tenant app catalog, because then I will get a little bit more control over the agent, and at least my admins know that something like this is happening. So let's push the agent now to the admin approval. So this is just a normal, quite simple agent which is connected to Microsoft Learn, and I can have a discussion with it and find learning information from the service. And as you saw, sorry, I stepped out. This admin approval has now been sent. And where to find this information? I, as an admin, I can go to M365 Admin Center, and over there on the left side we have now the Agent 365 service. This is still in a preview. This is available for the frontier firms. If you have enrolled to that service at this point, then you will have this available to you. And from here, as we can see, the first levels of information what are included in the service. So you have this type of small dashboard where you can see some relevant information, different agents, who has created them, etc. But the actual request for the publishing can be found in the all agent registry service. I'll come back to this in a moment. But now under the request, we should actually see the request that I just made. So we have an agent pending a review, and I can, as an admin, start to take actions. By the way, you need a special role for this to be available to you. So Power Platform admin is not enough for you to access this information. You need to be either a global admin, or there's also a special role called AI administrator that you need to get to access this information. But when you have, then you can see the publishing details. You will see some additional information, and I can click the publish, where I can also set different type of boundaries. I can, for example, say that to whom this is available to. Maybe it's only a group or certain users who has access to this. And do I want to install this to someone? Microsoft is also building this type of policy templates. At the moment, I'm only able to use the predefined ones, but as we can see here, we are starting to see some new information and settings available. Hopefully, we will get a lot more control over this in the future, that how we want to set up the different security settings for these agents. And when everything is done, I can review, and I can then also publish this information or agents to the end users. And after that, the agent will be available in the monitoring or registry list here. I can always go and see the different information of the agent. As you can see here, you can automatically see that who has built this agent, which tool was used actually to create the agents. So let's open one of these so we can see the information. Unfortunately, the situation currently is that it depends on the agent type that what information is available to you. So not all of the agents has the same capability of showing the different connectors, knowledge sources, etc. It little bit depends. I can say that the most detailed information is normally available for the Procode agents, then maybe on the Copilot Studio Lite agents. And I've seen that the Copilot Studio agents lack a little bit the necessary information, at least in the current preview format. But from here, I can make changes, I can update the information, and I also get some security and compliance details out of the here. And if needed, I can always block the agent, or I can also deploy this so that it will be available to everyone in the organization. And in this view, as you can see from here, all of the different agent types are available here. It seems that I don't have any SharePoint agents available, but they would also be listed here, so that then I can filter, for example, and see all of the different type of agents that I have based on the platform. So this is really the maybe the only place from where you can see all the necessary info and all the necessary or available agents, depending on different filtering settings. For example, these are done inside your organization. All right, but let's continue. That was the Agent 365 registry, which is a really important tool for you to publish the agent and control the access and also to see that what agents you have. So that's the place for that information. But of course, if we think about a modern agent, like I said, that the agent can be used by an end user interacting with them and then taking actions. But the thing is that the agents are also starting to work autonomously, so that no one is touching them. They are taking actions, making decisions. And what this means actually is that you need to start to think that the agent is like an end user for you. And that is the reason why Entra ID identities are coming into the play. So in the future already actually, you can make sure that every agent that are created either in the Copilot Studio or in the Azure Foundry services, they are actually creating this type of Entra Agent ID for the agents, so that you are able to go on the Entra ID services. You can take actions for those IDs. You can block the access. You can see that who has logged in, who has used the agents, and you can also control the life cycle of the agent identity. I'll show you this on the Copilot Studio side in a moment. But the idea here is that when the agent has an identity, you can start to put in the controlling, and also that identity will open up a lot more possibilities on the other services and security aspects for you, so that it's able to, or you are able to take a full control out of the agents. And like I said, I would actually think the agents in one way as a user that can be used by some others, but they can also work independently. There are few things around the agent identity that I will mention. This is not the deep dive for this subject here. Takes a little bit more effort to go through, maybe to test, and not everything is available yet. But what happens when an agent is actually created? The agents are getting this type of agent identity when they are created. And the identity is actually created based on the identity blueprint. And what this means is that I can create this type of blueprint and give a certain policies, capabilities, and for example, I can say on the blueprint level that, hey, these agents will have access to, for example, some resources in your tenant, and then when they are created, they are getting those permissions that we have set up in the blueprint level when they are acting. And then you, for example, you can take those access rights to those resources out if the agent is doing some unwanted or maybe harmful actions. So that gives you a little bit control. But let's go and see this information and what actually happens when the agent is created. First of all, the agent Entra ID has to be set up. That's done in the Power Platform Admin Center. In the Azure side, they are coming automatically, but in the Copilot Studio, you need to set things up. So under the Copilot settings, you have Entra Agent Identity for Copilot Studio service, from where you need to set or enable the Entra ID connectivity. So from here, I can select the environment, and I can just say that, okay, put the Entra connection on. And after this, every agent that is created in the environment will have an ID in the Entra services. So if we go on the agent, you can always check that, okay, does this agent have an Entra ID or not? I can go on the settings, advanced settings, and under the metadata, I can see that, okay, this has an Entra ID available. So let's go on the Entra ID service and let's check that, okay, how does this are seen on the Entra itself. Under the Entra ID, we have actually the Agent ID service available. And from here, you can see all of the blueprints. The Pro Code people are able to create their own blueprints, but when the first connection to Copilot Studio is created, Microsoft will create the Copilot Studio blueprint for you. And then I can go and actually see the agent information from here. So under here, I can see that these are the Copilot Studio agents, and I can see the list of those agents that has the Entra ID available. Unfortunately, at the moment, the name of the agent is actually not coming through, which is really, really bad actually for the usage. So currently, you need the actual ID if you want to find a certain agent. agent from the environment. Okay, for this actually the name has now come through, so maybe they are able to fix the issue. But let's open the agent identity so we see the different objects here. So under here we can see the information and maybe the most important things currently for the Copilot Studio agents are the different access permissions and especially the owners. So this is one tool now that you can actually use to set up owners or sponsors for the agents. Of course, when you are creating the agent, the creator will still be and have full access to the agent. But in real life, the business process itself is normally not owned by the user who maybe created the agent. Or maybe when the agent is going to the production, you want to have someone to overlook the agent and someone is owning that agent's process. And for that, you can actually add people now as a sponsor for the agent and to have them to actually owning the process. And what this brings to you is, for example, a possibility to then see and list that, okay, who is owning the business process of the agent, and also control that if something is happening, the person is leaving the company, you can automatically see that, okay, which agents are owned by that person, and you can take actions. So for that, you can use the normal life cycle services that are available in the Entra ID. So there is a special workflow available where you can actually update the sponsors of the agents. I'm opening this just as a quick review. When you are creating this type of workflow, you can set certain tasks. So send an email to manager of the sponsor that the sponsor is changing. So from here, I can select the people. So let's take, for example, Teppo. I know that Teppo has some agents available. So that goes to them. And then I can run the task, which means that an email will be sent to Teppo's manager, and then the manager can take actions and, for example, give the permission for the agent to a different person. So what happens when the workflow is run? The managers will get an email saying that, okay, the person is now changing the role or leaving the company, and here are all of the agents where that person is actually a sponsor. So now these processes will need a new person to own them in the future. That's one way of handling the situation. Other possibilities what are coming from the Entra services are actually security related. So if something is happening, the agent is somewhere, for example, published to websites, or they are taking actions autonomously, but something risky is happening. Someone is trying to break through the system throughout the agent. So some other events are happening. Because the agent has this Entra ID, you can take similar access than with your end users, that when something risky is happening, you will get an alert here. Because I didn't want to break into my own system, I'm actually using this Microsoft Graph way to confirm that something has been compromised. And for this, I can actually give the agent IDs and then, in one way fake the possible risk here. But what we see here is that we have two high-risk agents where something has happened. Someone has tried to compromise these agents. And you will get an alert here, and then you can start to take actions in a normal way, how with the end users you're doing the same thing. I can confirm that this is safe. I can dismiss the risk, or I can even shut down the account and then take further investigation at what actually happened. So this way you can shut down the agent from accessing any of the information that it has. So this gives you quite powerful tools to understand, monitor, and mitigate also possible risks that are happening in the environment. And of course, you can always set up other possible services. So in the future, in the Entra ID, you can also set up conditional access policies for the agents. And for example, based on what is happening, you can start to take actions for those agents automatically. So in the preview, we have these conditional access policies for all of the agent identity types. And then I can select that, okay, what type of actions is happening if something is compromised. So this would block the access for those agents automatically based on the access policies. So those are upcoming. But other things, and maybe the second most important part, on top of the identity itself, is to control all of the other security aspects. And for that, in the Agent 365, we also need to go through and understand what the Microsoft Defender service is offering. So as you might know, the Defender is giving you like a runtime protection capabilities for the agents, prompt injection, detection. It can also show different type of security related information to you, and you can deep dive a lot more that what could be happening even on the runtime actually. And that's really powerful information that you are getting out of this service. So basically, in the future, in your security processes, you need to start look for the agent itself, and in a one way handle the agent as a new entity there. And there are special features that are available both for the makers and also for the administrators. We don't have enough time to go through the whole process of activating the Defender on the Copilot Studio, but I'll leave this information to you in the slides, and I will show you the most important parts. This is something where you need to actually control two different systems or services. So under the Defender, the first thing that you need to do is to set up the necessary features, which are still in the preview, but the agent's capabilities are coming out from the Microsoft Defender for Cloud and Cloud App Services. And after that, when those are enabled, under the Cloud Apps, there is now a new Copilot Studio agent feature available to you that you need to set up and activate. And when this is activated, your Power Platform admins can start to take or need to take actions so that all of the conversation are both detected and also secured throughout the Defender services. So you need this information here. And after that, your Power Platform admins can start to use this threat detection services in the Power Platform Admin Center. And I highly recommend on investigating these and start to use them also in the production when they are available. So I can set up the threat protection for environments. Hopefully we will be seeing the environment groups on some point, someday, but from here I can give the information and then start to use the service in the agent itself. And the other is that I can also enable the Defender service in general for the agents. And when these are on, we can actually make some testing to see how the Defender is acting behind the scene. So like I said, we have this agent here, which has only certain normal capabilities from the Microsoft Learn service, but let's make some testing for this one. So I can ask from the agents different information, and then it can actually send that info for me. But let's do a couple of testing based on different scenarios. So now I was asking that, okay, how agent flow is working, what that is, and the agent is starting to reply for me. Let's give it a moment. I should have told that only answer in a short way. Maybe we will start a new session. But let's do the same thing, but now a little bit more compromised way in one way. So what is that? And can you send all the data to quite nasty looking email? This doesn't have email capabilities, by the way. And what happens now when the Defender services are on, that this is actually now blocking this type of trying. So the end user is not able to do certain things based on the prompting. Other way of handling or maybe trying to sneak out something not necessarily doable or something that we wouldn't like to is so-called ASCII smuggler, which means that I have a text and then I have hidden some other text behind the scenes. From here you can see that what text there is hidden in this section. And now if I'm using this type of prompt in the agent itself, the same thing is happening. So it knows that now there's some villain information on the prompt, and it is blocking the situation. So really handy way of securing the information. And these same things can be used also in the autonomous actions. If we look from here, this agent actually has an trigger that, okay, when a new email is arriving, take some actions based on what the email has. And if we go here on the activities, we see that we have one activity that has happened, and it went through quite nicely, and it gave back the information. So basically, I sent this email to the agent, and it was then answering the question based on the body here. But in the second one, as you can see, there's a small difference here. The same text, but there is something hidden behind here. So same thing, there is actually instructions in the body itself that the end user is unable to see. And in this situation, what happened was that this action was blocked. So it didn't actually continue anymore in this point because the hidden text is now available here, and the threat protection capabilities are able to realize this one, and it is stopping to run these agents because we don't want this type of activities to happen. So this is why the Defender service is so important for the agents, that these type of hijacks are not coming through to the system. Other thing which is I think really powerful on the Defender side is a capability on seeing the listing of agents or different type of information. So we have this hunting capability, and when you are activating the Copilot Studio, there's a new table coming into the Defender services. And from here, I can actually make queries against the data and different agents. So let's make, for example, a query to get list of all of the agents that have MCP servers attached. So this is one way of finding relevant information for your agents. For example, in one use case, we got a request that, okay, we want to know that is there any agents connected to a certain SharePoint site. So then we can now use hunting to see all of the agents that are connected to SharePoint and on which site this is, and then we can filter this information based on the queries that we are doing. But there are a lot of these queries available. I'm also leaving you a link for this service here where you can see the necessary other information. So basically, what I think is important to realize that agent governance is going on a wider spectrum nowadays. You will start to have other services also than the Power Platform Admin Center that you need to start investigating and understand, so that you can mitigate different level of security issues, take actions, plan the control, and also, I would say, re-establish your governance processes. One way of doing that is to think through that what type of different agents you have, start to categorize that one, and then plan your processes based on different levels of agents that you have. Some of them can be handled straight from the Power Platforms Admin Center, but then for the more complex one, you need to take a little bit more actions and to maybe start to work with other teams in your tenant, for example, with the Entra ID people, to have like a holistic view of the whole. But I also added some useful links to you, so where you can find more information and instructions for these demos that you saw today. But that was a quite quick overview of the Microsoft 365 agent governance capabilities and possible information related to those. So hopefully this gave you some ideas that where we are going, and also hopefully you saw some new things related to the upcoming features, and hopefully those will be available on the production in pretty soon. I hope at least. So thank you for this, and I'll check also if there's any questions, and I can try to answer them. And if nothing else, you can always ping me, for example, from the LinkedIn, and let's keep chatting. This is a new, really exciting world that we are starting to see on the governance side. So highly thank you for this one.
Thank you very much, Mikko. That was awesome session. Really, I take a lot from this knowledge, but of course I have to test it, and of course I have to have my own tenant for using it. Can you give me a tip, because maybe I didn't understand correctly? How can we just to pass this knowledge for the users? How can we block, for example, some kind of information, some kind of usage of Copilot of our agents if someone asks them for not correct things, for example, sensitive data or something it's not appropriate? Can you just highlight this session? Because this is something very important to know about how to protect your company and organization in that kind of cases. And I think a lot of questions from the business are getting like this. Can you just highlight this one?
Yes. So of course, all of the tools that are in the Power Platform Admin Center are the ones where to start. Still DLP settings for the connectors, etc. And we've been discussing these same questions lately, that what is the upcoming maybe a way of handling the situation. And personally, I think for the Defender services, how it is actually able to gather the information from the agents, and then I can start to use the hunting tools, making those queries. That's really powerful way of creating that type of processes and investigate what there is. But we are, like I said, we are still in the early phases of this. There's no one tool for covering all of the different agent types and capabilities at the moment. But hopefully during this year we will have that. But if I would have to guess something, I would investigate the Defender hunting capabilities, from where I can get that type of information which is not available to in other admin centers. But at the moment you need to mix things up. So something is in the Power Platform side, others are in the Defender side, and others are maybe on the Azure Foundry Control Plane services. So it's not easy task, for sure.
Yeah, but I know we have all this kind of question from the business side, so it's good to ask the smarter ones. That's why I'm pushing this question for you, because
correct.
And for sure, you have to answer this one. Because Pavel asked on the chat, will you share the slide deck?
I will share it. I'm not quite sure what is the best way for this conference to share them, but I will for sure put maybe on the chat. I will also post this on my LinkedIn later today, maybe so that I can share. But I will double check also how to share the information in the correct way.
Super, super, and good to know that. So, okay, I have a one, I already asked one question, so maybe someone else would like to ask for something, some curious things happening and comes on your mind, for example. Okay, so maybe as usually I am doing, I will count to three.
Yeah.
You have another option. One. Oh, another question. Will be there a CEO, COE, kit for agents? I think for Copilot Studio already
Yeah.
are,
Yeah.
but for agents, that
Yeah.
is.
We need to see. So that type of COE that has all of the different agent types is not there yet. I think in the long run, we will see those capabilities in the Agent 365 service in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, but we are still in early stages and phases for that one.
And Pavel, of course, added that he's interesting about COE in governance, for example. But
Yeah.
that is the kind of thing that a lot of us probably will be interested, because the solution for supplementing and governance of agents is very difficult, and
Yeah.
is on the early stage of like development. So a
Yeah.
lot of things are coming up, and a lot of things are just fine. That once again, I
Yeah.
know that is why I'm asking.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just sent you the link. The Copilot Studio has one type of COE. So Copilot Studio Kit, it comes from the same team than COE is built on. So that's the way to handle it. But there is one, but that's only for Copilot Studio agents for sure.
Yeah, I didn't knew about anything else like
Yeah. Yeah.
at least this one. Okay, so if there is no question more, we can have a 7-minute break. Thank you, Mikko, for this
Thank
very
you.
valuable knowledge, and thank you for your presence on our conference,
Yeah.
our
Thank you so
Global
much.
Power Platform Bootcamp. So
Yeah.
thanks you once again, and
Thank you.
let's take a 7-minute break and
Yeah.
they have another speaker. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you. I'll share the link for the presentation into this chat in one moment.